Hello, and thank you for joining the NW History Podcast. Today we have NurdBot with us, and in today's podcast, it's going to take you probably about an hour to set aside of your time. And what I want to talk about today is we're going to be focusing on his player history, and I want to make that clear. We're going to go over what he has started with, some stuff he has experienced throughout the community, and some highlights, some failures, and just really a good story we're going to be in for today. So I am leaving the floor up to you, NurdBot, to introduce yourself, what you're doing right now.
All right, hey, I'm NurdBot of the SC Dragoons. I guess
Woohoo!
The founder and whatever high-ranking official title you want to give to a guy who leads a hodgepodge casual gaming group in his spare time.
All right, awesome. So you lead the SA Dragoons, and when did they start, and what are they about?
Well, we started way back in 2011, in the late Mount Musket era. MM Prussia, basically, back when people lost hope and thought it was never going to get updated. and then the DLC happened a year later, and everyone was like, whoa.
Now, that's something that I think could be a golden nugget I want to hit on. So I know this will be diverting a little bit from your history, and I think people who haven't heard about this, because I have never heard about, before NW. I've only known, NW stuff. So could you hit a little bit upon, what it was like when that update happened and what the game was like before?
Well, people honestly thought it was a joke because it came out. The announcement literally broke around the 1st of April, the teaser trailer, and the people on the Warbound forums were bemused and thought it was a joke and actually didn't believe in it because this is before Tailworld started to really do weird DLC with mods. This is basically just after the drop with Fire and Sword, which wasn't really a success.
So they weren't people did not correlate Napoleonic Wars with Mount Blade at all.
I mean,
right?
They didn't believe it at first because all we got was that teaser trailer. We got silence for I think several days, and then basically Vincenzo, or Alafs, and I can't remember who. It's all on the Warbound forums right now. If anyone wants to dig that deep into the history of things, basically threw up a bunch of threads and then threw down some more information, and they sort of just drip-fed information, and a lot of people, were stunned, mainly because a lot of people liked it, but a lot of people were really weary about dropping money down on the DLC. Because they'd been waiting for, I think, at least a year for the update to MM Prussia, but it was very weird atmosphere at the time. I mean, we were all down for it because we've been playing for 6 months. We just got into the Lion Battle side of things, which were great fun. If you want me to rewind a bit to the origins of the clan.
Go for it.
All right. Well, basically, we're a bunch of goons on the SA forums, which is an ancient comedy website.
Really?
With a really just this old school BBS sort of forum community. Basically, a bunch of us were actually former Red Orchestra 2 players, and we basically got burned by Red Orchestra 2.
Why? What happened there?
Oh my god, it was Red Orchestra 2 dropped on Battlefield 3's release date, and they had the wonderful foresight to include the SGG-44 and I think the SVT. Which are basically assault rifles and fully automatic battle rifles as a pre-order bonus.
So that kind of screwed it over.
Yeah, and Red Orchestra 2, of course, had the usual grinding weapon locks things, but everyone was running around with assault rifles from day one, and there was a bunch of other issues, like performance issues and...
Oh my goodness!
I mean, in the end, the guys who did the Pacific expansion made that really wonderful Vietnam game right now on Steam. So it was a happy ending for those guys in the end. Not sure about Tripwire though.
And so that made you guys kind of focus back onto, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but that made you focus back onto NW, right? with a community. That's how it came together.
It wasn't NW. This is before NW. It was
when I say NW, I meant like just Napoleonic Wars in general. I guess
it was just basically a weird tangent in the thread because everyone was just basically sitting around saying, "Man, this sucks. I can't be bothered to play this anymore." And then I think I don't know. I can't remember who floated the suggestion. One of our original founders or some other guy, but someone brought up playing Warband multiplayer. Multiplayer mods, because there was a separate big group of goons that played Warband CRPG, the infamous LLJK guys, led by old Phantom Zero.
So, just to get a preface here, the SA Dragoons, then, you guys came from an earlier game. So, you guys originated an earlier game, you came to Mount and Musket, right? That's what it was at the time, correct?
Pretty much, yeah.
And then from Mount and Musket, like, did you face any, like, early on when you transferred, what issues did you face in that?
Well, when we first started playing Mount Musket, we were known as LLJK as well, because that's a terrible but hilariously silly goon in-game joke reference sort of thing. We were just kind of messing around in just playing it casually, just on the novelty of it, because you didn't get like Napoleonic Wars era FPS as much.
Yeah, no, you don't.
I mean, the SA Dragoons identity we didn't really fully adopt until probably like we started doing Lion battles in like late Mountain Musket's lifetime. I remember our first icon being on the generic Russian standard icons. Then it was the Jolly Roger flag, and finally we adopted a dog. We adopted the default base Warband dog banner.
Wow! And anything else, like when you first started out? What was your like mission when you were guys around? Was it just to have like be a casual group, or how did that work out?
What was just a casual group?
What were some players there that you knew?
Are you talking about like the community?
Yeah.
Well, we didn't have much close contact with like the community at first. We just basically booted up a casual game of Mount Musket and messed around. So it was like anyone would casually play Hold Fast right now, run around shooting dudes in the face with the old guns and playing instruments, and just having a good old random time.
Woo! And what exactly was it with the? I meant to say more as, who else was in the SA Dragoons with you, and what kind of adventure was it?
Oh my god. You're asking me to remember, like, 250 to 300 people here.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay, so it was a large-sized regiment. Kind of back in those days, can you describe it like a normal event to me, or are there any events that stick out that you can remember?
Well, we've been through a lot of events. The first line battle.
Yeah.
Our first line battle was basically we quietly sent a PM to Old Sarge, and he basically let us in with a caution because he knew about getting reputation, and we play by the rules and whatnot. I kind of remember the last line battle from Mountain Musket the most. It was an interesting experience.
How so?
Well, I was maybe because of the last sort of line battle in a mod. I'm trying to remember why. Sorry, it's
the last. Yeah, I know. When I talk to people about this, one thing that's a shame is this is so long ago. So many people have just a hard time remembering. But yeah, continue.
I mean, it was just interesting. It was on the random generated maps, and what random generated maps were like with Warband.
What was the feeling when the game first came out, NW first came out? Like, how was the reception?
Oh well, we were pretty liked it. We enjoyed Mountain Musket. It was janky as hell, but we did like the idea. Those who basically paid the $10 more or less to get the DLC. Sadly, we probably lost 10, 15 dudes, or 10, 15 dudes spent a long time on the sidelines to join us. But we were amazed because it was a huge jump in terms of quality from the mod.
Now, did it have a bigger player base than Mountain Musket?
The DLC? Oh, certainly. For the first 6 months, certainly, yes. Let me put it this way: we did events both in the EU and North American time zone, and we
Wow.
basically had an event for almost every day of the week for both.
And how many? I know you probably won't know this, but how many players do you think NW had at its highest?
Oh God, it's a tricky estimation because
I ask
people-
now because actively I'd say there's about maybe, and I'm being generous, maybe 400, probably like 200 to 300 players. Yeah,
You're talking like
or less
in
right
playing
now.
averagely on a night rather than in general, because
Yeah, averagely on a night for NW here in North America, it's probably
I
around
would
200 to
say
300.
around that. That was around the peak, around 300-400 players peak for the NW.
Uh-huh.
It's interesting. It's a novelty thing to play casually, but the casual stuff doesn't last long.
Uh-huh.
Even
Why's
with
that? Why do you
friends.
think that?
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
Why do you think that is?
I mean, it's good. It's a novelty. It's a very niche setting, and it's a bit of a novelty. Even with Warbands Melee, if you're just playing casually, the novelty will wear off.
So people start to lose interest.
Yeah, it's a shame, really, because it's a very niche kind of game.
Uh-huh.
Which is why the organized community exists, thankfully. If it wasn't for the organized community, I would have long lost interest in the game, because the line battle events, and I imagine the group fighting for some as well, are the big pull, the long term sort of
for sure.
sticking power things.
So now I want to move more into, that was more broad, but what was your history throughout it? Could you describe your adventures in NW, I'd guess?
Well, let's see. We just attended a lot of line battles first. Both time zones. We got some good ones, we got some bad ones, luck of the draw. Briefly, for around a year, I actually hosted an event for the Napoleonic Wars in the North American time zone, with the help of the 38E, who were amazing guys. I don't know how many of those guys are still around in other clans or regiments.
I've never heard of them.
They were good dudes. They let us use their TeamSpeak and their server for the event for an entire year. And really, it only came to a close when after a hiatus of a week due to computer problems, literally almost everyone attending the event sort of moved on to other events. And the 38E were basically had to let go of their own server, and another clan or regiment gave me theirs. But there was a lot of drama and fighting amongst them. And
why was there drama and fighting?
This was perhaps late 2014-15, and a lot of regiments and clans were just breaking up, really, both casual and professional, and people were moving on with their lives.
So that was games more coming out. That was more the downhill spiral of the game, right? So
it was probably the beginning of the end of peak Napoleonic Wars, basically back when
So when I joined the game, that's when everything started to go down, because that's when I started to play.
I'm sorry to tell you.
I missed all the fun. Yeah, this is why, one of the reasons why I enjoy doing this podcast is when I hear about the older generation, when they were playing this game, and I hear I'm really into the melee competitive side of the game. So when I hear people like Jackie Chan and Zezdeath and all those different players, that was
Jackie
a different
Chan
era.
Was a good guy. He was a good guy. I would say he was probably the heart and soul of the whole competitive league. Good dude.
Yeah, he was really well. He's really well known throughout the community for sure. Definitely not. I think I'd like to get your take on this, and this is more of a modern time, so we're jumping around a little bit here. But I think, and this is kind of it could have been like this, but as the community went on, did it get more and more arrogant, or I guess salty in a sense?
I would say there was sadly a general decline, because basically during the beginning of the end, we lost a lot of old school 63E sort of style from the very beginning, back when it was pre-mountain musket sort of clans just moving on.
Yeah.
I mean, and sadly there was a lot of drama surrounding the whole FSC forums. Drama surrounding clans and they're falling out.
Are there any specific examples you could tell us about, like a story about any of this, just so we can have something to ground ourselves in?
I can't remember. I think one of the original British big clans, the 53, the 53rd, I think, or something like that, just basically downright just shrugged, an entire senior clan just shrugged and was like, well, we've had our fun. It's